The electric car wasn't a new idea. For over 50 years, the technology existed, but was entirely ignored. Traditional automakers laughed, dismissing electric vehicles as nothing more than glorified, underpowered golf carts. Detroit ruled the world. The massive internal combustion engine industry was an unstoppable global titan, backed by the infinite pockets of big oil. They believed their roaring, smoke-filled empire would simply last forever. In the early 2000s, a tiny group of rogue engineers decided to challenge this towering Goliath. Armed with a radical, seemingly absurd vision, they planned to build a high-performance electric sports car from scratch. When Elon Musk poured his fortune into this underdog startup, the automotive industry chuckled. Wall Street analysts publicly mocked the venture, predicting absolute failure for a company attempting to survive against massive legacy giants. But this tiny team possessed a terrifying advantage: a profound understanding of modern physics and software. They weren't building a traditional automobile. They were engineering a highly advanced computer wrapped beautifully in lightweight metal.
The secret weapon lay hidden completely inside the chassis. Instead of inventing a completely new power source, they ingeniously wired thousands of tiny, commercially available lithium-ion laptop batteries into a single, massive, powerful pack. This radical battery architecture fundamentally shifted the paradigm. Suddenly, an electric vehicle wasn't just clean, it was devastatingly fast. The raw, instant torque completely obliterated the sluggish performance stereotypes of the past 50 years. The world finally caught a glimpse of the Roadster. It was an elegant, aggressive machine that silently tore down the highway, leaving loud, gasoline-powered sports cars choking in the literal dust of the future. The physics were absolutely undeniable, but the economics were brutal. The early prototypes were incredibly expensive to manufacture, and the small engineering team burned through vast amounts of capital just trying to survive the decade. They pushed through exhaustion to finalize designs. Yet building a handful of sports cars was just a parlor trick. To truly threaten Detroit, Tesla needed to manufacture a mass-market sedan completely from scratch. They boldly purchased a massive, abandoned auto plant in California. Inside, pure chaos reigned supreme, as visionary engineers literally slept under desks, fighting against impossible physics to assemble the complex machinery needed for mass production. When the Model S finally rolled off the line, it didn't just match gasoline cars, it absolutely destroyed them. It became the safest, fastest, and most technologically advanced sedan ever sold to the public market. The legacy automakers suddenly stopped laughing. Consumers were lining up by the thousands. Tesla's master plan was rapidly scaling, proving that the ancient internal combustion engine was mathematically destined for the global scrap heap.
To meet explosive global demand, Musk doubled down with a terrifyingly ambitious vision. They broke ground on the Gigafactory, a massive structure in the Nevada desert designed to produce unprecedented volumes of advanced battery cells. The scale of this new facility was absolutely staggering. Tesla wasn't just building cars anymore. They were single-handedly dragging the entire global supply chain into the future, securing vast raw materials for a worldwide revolution. Inside the factory, hundreds of massive red robotic arms danced in perfect synchronization. The automated manufacturing process was a beautiful, terrifying mechanical ballet, weaving aluminum and silicon into the transportation of tomorrow at blinding speeds. This massive expansion required astronomical levels of funding. Wall Street watched closely as Tesla burned through cash, scaling their operations globally, while legacy automakers desperately tried to dismiss the rising tide of electric vehicles entirely.
The sheer momentum was completely intoxicating, but scaling up to produce the affordable Model 3 triggered a waking nightmare. Tesla plunged directly into what Musk infamously described as absolute agonizing manufacturing production hell. Assembly lines broke down constantly. The immense pressure to deliver hundreds of thousands of vehicles pushed the company right to the razor's edge of total financial ruin. The massive corporate Goliath was finally fighting back. Wall Street smelled blood in the water. Vicious short sellers heavily bet against the underdog, gleefully predicting bankruptcy within weeks. Mainstream media published countless articles celebrating the inevitable, spectacular death of the electric automotive dream. But analysts fundamentally underestimated the sheer, brutal willpower of the workforce. They erected an emergency assembly line inside a massive tent just to keep vital production numbers alive during the absolute darkest hours of the company. Every single second counted on that floor. Engineers and mechanics fought around the clock, desperately untangling the chaotic bottlenecks. Slowly, painfully, the massive production machine began to align, pumping out cars at a rapid pace. The dark clouds finally parted. Tesla didn't just survive the brutal gauntlet, they emerged as an unstoppable industrial juggernaut. Profitability soared, completely destroying the arrogant narrative spun by traditional analysts and bitter legacy automotive executives. The tide violently turned as the once mocked underdog began dominating international auto sales charts month after month.
The Model 3 became a global phenomenon, proving the absolute superiority of their fiercely defended electric vision. The old guard was thrown into absolute panic. Detroit and European titans scrambled furiously to pivot their massive, sluggish operations toward electric vehicles, terrified of being completely wiped out by the relentless Silicon Valley upstart.
Factories that once pumped out gas-guzzling engines were hastily retrofitted. The giants who laughed for 50 years were now desperately copying the exact playbook Tesla had openly published to the entire world a decade ago. The ultimate vindication finally arrived on the global stock market. Tesla's valuation exploded into the stratosphere, leaving the combined legacy automakers completely in the dust. The 50-year corporate joke was now an absolute, undeniable empire. From a tiny, chaotic startup to an $800 billion behemoth, Tesla fundamentally altered human trajectory. They proved a relentless, unyielding vision could violently dismantle the most entrenched corporate monopolies on Earth.
The world will never drive the same way again. A single company forced the entire planet into a cleaner, faster future. The ultimate revenge against the massive establishment is simply achieving impossible, undeniable success. If you work in solar or clean tech and want to track, analyze, and optimize real project performance, the platform you need is ready. Check the link below for baas.app.